Croatoan Indians chieftain Manteo. And those are characters in our show. You will see and learn more about them tonight. But suffice to say that John White was one of the big players in the first voyage because he came and painted all of the things he saw, all the flora, the fauna, and of course the locals in the area. So he has all of this nice research and pamphlets to bring back to the old world, and New World fever sets in due to his work there. Sir Walter Raleigh, the man who begot this idea, was in fact knighted for this first trip. And so the second voyage is sent out a year later, this time under the command of Ralph Lane, under the command of Cody and his men. And they come out here as primarily a construction crew. They're going to build the fort of Raleigh to set it up for a later colony to move in. Unfortunately, Ralph Lane turns out to be a pretty poor choice of leader. And not speaking on Cody's behalf at all, but Ralph Lane, the man himself, makes several very poor decisions that leads to a large spread conflict with the Roanoke Indian tribe. So they have to abandon the fort. They did fail. That being said, they try one more time, and in 1587, finally you get John White leading a group of villagemen and women. We have families coming here, and so 117 men, women, and children land here in 1587 and begin their third attempt at colonization. In fact, about 2 weeks after they landed, on August 18th, the firstborn English child was born right here, and that is Virginia Dare, of course, who just celebrated her birthday yesterday. And we're very, very proud of that. It's the whole reason we have this whole show going on. So things were going well for them, and Governor White decided he would return back to England to get some more men, more supplies, and things like that. So he set sail. Unfortunately, that is the last time that he, nor any Englishman for that matter, set their eyes upon this colony. What happens? John White goes back to England. It takes him about 4 months to cross the Atlantic Ocean due to some storms. And when he does get back, the Spanish Armada had encircled the British Isles. So he was trapped in England. He tried many times, but it took him 3 years to successfully negotiate with the Queen some small vessels to come back out. The conflict had subsided, the English had won, and so she let out a small ship with John White and a few others in tow. So John White returns 3 years after leaving to land here. He actually lands here on August 18th, 3 years to the date of his granddaughter's birthday. And he comes in and finds nothing. He finds the fort abandoned. The people are gone. Many of the buildings were taken down, disassembled, not burnt down or destroyed, but taken apart, presumably moved elsewhere. He also finds some clues. He finds the letters C-R-O carved into a tree, and the word Croatoan carved onto a palisade or fence wall, like the wall we have outside our theater. Now, he is led to believe, of course, that the Englishmen there moved on to Croatoan, moved on to the friendly Indian tribe about 40 miles to our south in what is now modern-day Hatteras Island. But he does not know for certain. So he is going to take his men and return on their rowboats back out to the main fleet so they can sail those 40 miles to our south to investigate further. Unfortunately for John White, a very, very nasty storm, a hurricane arrived, and in the process of returning to the fleet, several of the sailors drowned. So the captain of the vessel decides to call the whole thing off, and they return with John White and co. back to England. John White spends the remainder of his life petitioning the Queen over and over again for additional attempts. He goes bankrupt trying to fund these attempts, and eventually passes away on an Irish estate of Sir Walter Raleigh, out of history. Even Sir Walter Raleigh himself, the man whom North Carolina's capital is named after, never made it to the New World. He was imprisoned in the Tower of London because Queen Elizabeth had a tuff with him. They were falling out of favor with each other. And when she passed and King James took the throne, King James did not like him either. So, on some other political means, they had Sir Walter beheaded. So our story is that. We know so much about this colony because John White recorded all of these things and details in his journal. Then again, once he left to go back to England, that is the last recorded evidence we have of their existence here. So every other theory past that point is just that, is a theory. The majority of our second act is just theories of what could have happened to these people. Now this story has been told orally by the locals of the counties here for many, many years until the 350th anniversary of Virginia Dare's birthday. And at that time, they figured out that they could actually compile some resources. They got help from the Works Project Association, the Federal Deal Project there, and were able to compile all sorts of things together to build a theater that we have today and to employ some actors and have a production on a higher scale of quality than what they used to do. So I'm talking about 1937 now was the opening of our show, as it has been so far for 76 years as a play. And we have, as I said, continued for 76 years. We're quite proud of that statement. So in this time, we're going to pull all of you guys through the house, and we're going to go up to the very front where Cody's going to tell you a little bit more about our theater and how we got our start here. So please follow him right